As we slowly move through our composing careers, we begin to have opportunities to become more selective about the types of projects we take on and the types of people we choose to work for. Hopefully today will help save you a little bit of pain that we can all experience in the first parts of our composing careers, helping you improve your craft, but just as importantly, your business sense. Now, inevitably, when we start talking about accepting work versus letting a certain job pass you by, a lot of you are probably going to have a complaint that sounds something like this guy.
Well, I'm having a hard time finding a composing job, like one singular, let alone picking between jobs. What do you have to say to that,
Okay, valid concern, I get it. But as someone who's just shy of a decade of being a professional in this field, if you stick with it, I can pretty much guarantee that over time you're going to become busier. And as time is not unlimited, we're going to have to become more discerning about the jobs we take on and the jobs we wave goodbye to. So when it does come to be that time in your career when you need to decipher the difference between a job that's worth your time and a job that might not be, we're going to need some values to attach to these types of jobs and this type of work. And for that, we need some help from a new friend, the Composer Triangle. Welcome to today's decision-making aid, the Composing Triangle. I'm taking a few discussions I've had with friends, colleagues, and comments from other creators and synthesizing them into what I hope will be a digestible approach to making judgments on films, projects, and music media gigs. So in my mind, there are three primary reasons why you might take on a composing job, or three primary values you should consider when trying to decide: money, relationships, and creative reward. Now, money is self-explanatory. We need money to pay rent, keep the lights on, and put food in our mouths. I like food. Eating is nice. But there are, in fact, other reasons we might say yes to a job. For the same reason we might work a free internship for an established composer, we may choose to be paid less than our usual asking rate for one all too important reason: relationships. So just as some people say that money makes the world go round, I would venture to say that relationships are what make the entertainment industry go round. And with that in mind, a note here on my personal philosophy of professional relationships and how it pertains to friendships. When you're able to befriend your colleagues in a way that's genuine and not some artificial relationship or friendship that's based upon the exchange of services for money, there is a net positive effect. Everything from the quality of the work you accomplish together to the professional loyalty and the honesty of the feedback that you receive from them, it's all going to be positively impacted. Now, that does not mean you need to be overly chummy with everyone that should grace your writing room, but friendship has a fundamentally different type of social glue than being just colleagues. So beyond money, you may decide to take on a job to foster a new relationship or maintain an existing one, even if that means accepting less than your usual asking rate. So we've got money, we've got relationships as driving forces behind accepting creative work, but I think that there's one more: creative reward. Having some green is nice, having friends and colleagues is great, but we didn't only get into composing to make cash and spend our days on the phone. We are, at our cores, creatives. This makes creative reward a great reason for saying yes to a scoring job. So the Composing Triangle has a rule. You have to satisfy at least two criterion at any given point to definitively and safely say that, hey, this is probably a good job to take on. Say a film has a crap budget. However, it's being directed by an up-and-coming filmmaker that just released a hot Netflix series, and the footage you've seen thus far is stunning. Based upon the initial conversations, it also sounds like the director likes your suggestive creative direction for the score and will let you write more or less in your favorite kind of style. So again, very little scope or budget, but an awesome director you've never worked with who is likely going to let you write the type of music you want to write. Since you've ticked at least two of the boxes on this list of three, it looks like this project will get a green light from us. Now, this seems like a good time to talk about musical rights. Unless you feel adequately, monetarily compensated for your work, be careful about giving up your music, the rights to your music, for small fees. Please tread carefully. So, this next situation is a commercial job. True to form, it's going to be great paying with union players, the whole 9 yards. In short, we stand to make some money from this one. Not only that, but we're really good friends with the music house's creative director. It's a relationship we want and need to maintain. But there's a hitch. The commercial's a real dog. The voiceover could put a crying infant to sleep, and it looks like it was shot on your grandmother's flip phone. The agency is also asking for a boring, single-note drone. Safe to say, this one will be less than creatively rewarding. But that's okay. We're gonna nurture an existing relationship, and we're gonna make some coin. In my book, that's a worthwhile collaboration. But what about a job that maybe isn't worth our while? What does that look like? So, you get contacted by a director you've worked with before. Not only was the director intensely critical about the score you created in this previous film, he was also unfriendly, unappreciative, and incredibly unreliable in his timeline, getting you proper assets for picture, etc. And instead of offering you a proper budget for your time, and if we're lucky enough, a few live players, instead they're offering what they call, quote, great exposure, which in director speak means, well, no money. However, the production stills you've seen thus far are gorgeous, and it looks like it could be a beautiful project. So, what do? So this one's a little tough. Those of us that have served in the trenches of independent film know how hard it can be to get hired onto a job that actually has some artistic merit to it, some production value, that is. So depending upon where you're at in your career, this situation could actually be a little bit tempting, even if it isn't 100% right for you. But heck, let's go down that rabbit hole for a second, and let's say that you decide to take on this film and work with this director that has historically proven challenging to work with. Okay, A, the director already knows you're willing to work for peanuts. They didn't pay you well the first time. Second, even though this is a new film, what guarantee do you have the director is going to treat you better this second time around? Chances are, if we're being frank and honest, they won't. You've already set 2 precedents that you're willing to work for low pay and be mistreated in the process. And that is precisely why we have this checks and balances of at least 2 criteria existing for any given project. It's just a good safeguard. But there are exceptions to the triangle and the crossing off 2 of our value point rules. I think that the people we choose to work with are hugely important. At some point, brilliant projects that pay thousands upon thousands of dollars won't mean anything if the people steering the ship make your life miserable. You're also going to crush your creative soul if you work for well-known creatives paying decent money on projects that don't feel like they're creatively you. After all, we've gotten into this business to make music. And finally, if you take on work with your friends making fantasy films that leave less money in your pocket than when you started, well, you had better be independently wealthy because, as we said at the top of this video, eating is absolutely necessary. So what do you think of this magical compositional triangle? Perhaps you have a different set of motivations. Is this your trifecta, or do you have different guidelines you use to pick your projects? I look forward to seeing the conversation unfold in the comments below. And until next time, guys, peace. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon below so that you can be notified the next time I post a video. I'm gonna go to the store now so I can start my weekend. See ya.